Okay, hello everyone. Good morning, all of you. So we'll see the quote today. This is by Albert Einstein. So he says there are only two ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle, and the other is as though everything is a miracle. Whatever happens in our life, like you have to see it like a miracle. Many times people say, if you show me a miracle, I will believe in God. But if you have eyes to see, everything that is going in the nature is a miracle, right? So you see a big tree coming out of a small seed, and if you don't see miracle in that, and where can we else we can see the miracle? And the way you took birth and you are growing, and everything in our life is a miracle only. So we have to have the eyes and heart to see that miracle. Okay. And today is the birthday of Lanchester, Frederick William Lanchester. He is English automobile and aeronautics pioneer who built the first British petrol automobile in 1896 and founded the Lanchester Engine Company in 1899. In 1901, Lanchester patented disc brakes. His 1903 car had a balanced vibrationless. You can see in 1903 what is the technology he has used for his car. Okay, his 1993 car had a balanced vibrationless two-cylinder horizontal engine with two counter-rotating crankshafts, electric ignition, three-speed epicycle gearbox with three-selector control, tether steering, and a warm drive back axle. And Lanchester is recognized as the first to grasp the role of the trailing vortices behind the lifting wings, like von Karman vortices, as I told, and as the initiator of the circulation theory of the lift. And he also founded mathematical modeling for military gaming. So he's a great scientist. And he says to function efficiently, any group of people or employees must have faith in their leader. Okay, so that is very important. Okay, today we are going to discuss about coordinate transformation of the equations. Okay, why we need it, what is the meaning of it, we will see. And before that, we'll just revise what we have done in the last class. So first we have done the revision of simple algorithm. And then we have discussed about omega psi formulation. So if you see the omega equation, we have omega t plus u omega x plus v omega y is equal to u del square omega. The main advantage of this is no pressure, and this is non-conservation form. So if you want conservation form, omega t plus u omega x plus v omega y is equal to mu del square omega. This is conservation form. So if you see the stream function equation, we have del square psi is equal to minus omega. Right, and this is a parabolic equation, and this is elliptic equation. So you can use the respective solver that you want to use, and sometimes if you have steady flow, then this omega t will not be there, and so what you can do is, if you are interested in time marching, you can keep omega t here and add psi t here, right? So that both becomes parabolic. And we can use the parabolic solver for both of the equations and using time marching. Okay, these are the various methods that we have discussed. And not only that, we have discussed, you can have FTCS scheme, you can have upwinding scheme, or you can have ADA scheme. Okay, suppose if you have FTCS for like that. So FTCS, we know that here we can write omega is a n plus 1 minus omega is a t. And central difference you can write here u omega at I plus 1 minus j minus q omega I minus 1 j by 2 delta x, like that we can write. Okay, so this is for FTCS. And when you want upwind, so what we have to do is we have to use the backward difference for uh, forward flow and backward forward difference. Sorry, forward difference for backward flow and backward difference for forward flow we have to use. So there we have seen how we have to use it using 1 minus epsilon x. We multiply one of them as 1 plus 1 minus epsilon x and another with 1 plus epsilon x. So you can have forward difference approximation here and backward difference approximation here, like that. So based on the epsilon x, one of them we make it 0. So if it is forward difference, I want backward difference approximation, and this becomes this has to be 0. And if it is reverse flow, then this is to be 1 and this to be 0. So half into will keep here. So that is the way we do. And similarly, ADI, if you want to use, you discretize it, either FTCS or upwind. So you use x derivatives implicit and y derivatives explicit in the first step, and the other way in the second step. So we will write it as omega I plus half j, omega ij minus omega ij. Here we plus n plus half, here n by delta t by 2 for the first half time step. And then we will write omega ij n plus 1 minus omega ij n plus half by delta t by 2 in the second half time step. So here we will write x implicit, y explicit, and here we use x explicit, y implicit. Right? So that is the way we can write. So different schemes we have seen, and anyhow stream function, it is straightforward. It is elliptic equation. You can use for omega equation, you can use point Gauss Seidel or point successive over relaxation or line Gauss Seidel, line successive over relaxation, or ADA or ADA with over relaxation. So all these methods you know how to use it. The only thing is we have done for del square psi equal to 0, but now we have del square psi equal to minus omega. So this is to be added there. That's all. Because first equation I get omega. So here omega is I have to keep here. Okay, that is the way we have to solve the omega psi formulation. And as I told, we will see the example in your lab class. Okay, now what is this transformation of equations? Okay, so this is one important thing. So actually, if you want clarity, it is coordinate transformation. Coordinate transformation of governing equations. Okay, so usually we are discussing till now finite difference method. Okay, so we have other methods like finite volume and finite element methods. Okay, so these are very simple mathematically and numerically, and programming is easy. Okay, simple and mathematically, numerically, and programming wise. Okay, so all these way it is very simple, and so till now we are doing it, but there are some restrictions. Okay, so till now we have seen that FDM, it is using Taylor series expansion. So Taylor series expansion is normally used for uniform grid. Okay, non-uniform also sometimes we use, and uniform grid, and mainly rectangular system, rectangular grid. So this is one of the main thing that is needed. Okay, if you want a Cartesian system, so rectangular the domain must be rectangular, and I divide them in x coordinate and y coordinate into some equal parts and all like that. So this is restricted for mainly what are called as structured grids. And so usually for most of the practical problems, we need unstructured grids because of complex geometry. So geometry always will not be rectangular, right? So we have various types of geometries you will have while solving the equations. So just for example, if I have a aerofoil type of flow over an aerofoil I want. Okay, so because I want to use finite difference method, I take a rectangular domain, so which are divided into number of parts like this. But if you do this way, what happens is there will be some grid points within the aerofoil where I don't have any flow at all. Okay, so that is one of the restrictions. And another thing is I have only very few grid points on the profile. And sometimes you may not have any grid points on the profile. But boundary conditions are very important. We know that problem to problem, the main thing, the strength of it is boundary conditions. So I should be able to provide the boundary conditions as better as possible. But here, because I don't have much grid points here, I cannot apply the boundary conditions. So these are the main restrictions if I want to have a rectangular domain like this over a complex shape of the body. So that is main thing. Okay, so we can conclude that rectangular grid is not appropriate for the solution of the flow grid. So in contrast, a grid that appropriate is sketched in the next slide. Okay, so if I can have grid like this, okay, grid lines in this way and grid lines like this. This is you know that it is like flow net. Okay, it's almost like flow net, streamlines and potential lines if you have. So now you can see that there will not be any grid points within the aerofoil, and there will be many grid points on the aerofoil where I can apply the boundary conditions. Okay, so this is what is called as boundary fitted coordinate system. So the boundary itself act like a streamline here, right? So it fits the body of the body shape. Okay, so this is what is called as boundary fitted coordinate system. So this is a grid which is convenient, but this is not a rectangular grid. This is not a uniform grid, and I cannot use finite difference method there. So what is the now how to handle this? And if I can transform this particular grid system into a rectangular grid system like this with uniform grid, if I have a transformation function, then this is called as the computational domain where I can solve the equations. And this is what is called as physical domain, right? And where I cannot solve the equations. So I am transforming this grid system into this grid system from physical domain to computational domain, so that here the transformation should be in such a way that there is one-to-one correspondence. Every point here corresponds to a physical point there. Every computational point here corresponds to a physical point there. So here, if I can solve the equations, the values here at these grid points will be equal to the values at these grid points. Okay, so that is transformation of the grid. But I have to solve the equations here where it is xy coordinate system. This is xy eta coordinate system. Okay, so I cannot solve the equations with having xy derivatives in xy eta coordinate system. So what I have to do is I have to transform the equations from the physical domain to computational domain. This is what is called as transformation of equations. I have to convert the xy derivatives in the governing equations to xy eta derivatives, and then I can solve those equations in this domain. Is my point clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that is the way I have to do. Now I have to transform the equations from the xy domain to xy eta domain. Okay, this is a little bit mathematically involved. the equations will become very long and very big equations. But only thing is, okay, this can be solved in finite volume and finite element, but I am not familiar with finite volume and finite element. I am very strong in finite difference methods, and I understand this process well. I can derive the equations. I am good in mathematics. I can write the programs. I am good at programming and all. So then I need not worry. So let it be more number of terms. Okay, my equations will become long, but computer will take care of it. Okay, the load is taken by the computer. Only some more lines and some more equations will become long. That's all. Okay, that doesn't matter for me because I'm good at mathematics and programming, right? So I can solve the complex equations in the complex geometry using finite difference method. Okay, that is what is important here. If I want to stick to finite difference method in spite of having complex geometry, right? So then I have to use this transformation technique. Okay. So how to do it? So I have xi eta coordinate system. So I should have a transformation. So xi should be expressed as xy and eta xy. If it is unsteady system, so there will be xi is equal to xyt, eta is equal to eta xyt, and the tau is equal to tau of t, like that. If I have an unsteady system, this is the computational domain, xyt is the physical domain. Okay, so this is the way I have. And so the equations are having dou by dou x and dou by dou y. But I want to express those equations in terms of dou by dou xi and dou by dou eta so that I can solve the equations in the computational domain. Okay. Okay, this is the way. Suppose I have a grid system. This is physical domain. This can be converted into computational domain like this. So here, delta x and delta y are completely variables here. They are different at different grids, okay, different control volumes. But here, this is transformed into a rectangular coordinate system with equal delta z and delta eta, okay, uniform grid. This is computational domain. So this is a flow over axisymmetric blunt body. So that blunt body knows if I have like this, so I can have this grid and this grid to be transformed. So the equations are like this, okay? So xi equal to xi of xyt, eta equal to eta of xyt, tau equal to tau of t. And okay, suppose I take a steady flow, I will do. And so I have dou by dou x and okay, now dou by dou x is equal to dou by dou xi into dou xi by dou x. Okay, so xi x dou by dou xi plus eta x dou by dou eta. Is it okay? So dou by dou x is equal to dou by dou xi into dou xi by dou x plus dou by dou eta by dou x. Okay, this xi x I know, eta x I know. These are some constants because I have transformation function. Dou xi by dou x I can find out, dou eta by dou x I can find out. Okay, these are some values, numerical values. Okay, so I can write this as dou by dou x is xi x, dou xi by dou x into dou by dou xi, dou eta by dou x into dou by dou eta. Is this okay?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, similarly, dou by dou y is equal to xi y dou by dou xi plus eta y dou by dou eta. Okay, this is the way I can have. I will write in another slide. Dou by dou x is equal to xi x dou by dou y plus eta x dou by dou y. Dou by dou y is equal to xi y dou by dou z plus eta y dou by dou. Okay, if I have first order derivatives, I can just substitute like this. Suppose I have dou u by dou x plus dou v by dou y equal to 0. Okay, ux plus vy equal to 0. This is the contingent equation. So what is dou u by dou x? Xi x dou u by dou z plus eta x dou u by dou eta, right? Plus dou v by dou y, right? Substitute the operating dou by dou y on v, I will get xi y dou v by dou z plus eta y dou v by dou eta equal to 0. So this is equivalent to this equation. Okay, so by solving this equation I can solve in the computational domain, means I am solving this in the physical domain. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, so now you can see the equation, actually this is simple equation, but it became a very complex equation. Okay, so a bit longer equation. But as I told, it doesn't matter for me. Okay, as long as I have first order derivatives, okay, it is somewhat complex, but it's still it's okay. But if I have second order derivatives, you can see how it becomes. Okay, I want to have dou square by dou x square. This I want. So how to do this? Dou by dou x of dou by dou x. Okay, so that is dou by dou x of this I will write xi x dou by dou z plus eta x dou by dou eta. Now I have to find out the derivative of this. So what happens? These are two terms, right? So first I will write it as dou by dou x of xi x is xi xx dou by dou z plus if xi x is constant, I will have dou square by dou xi dou x plus second one eta xx dou by dou eta plus eta x dou square by dou eta dou x. Is this okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes. Right. So here, but still there is a difficulty. I have dou by dou x is there here. That I don't want to have. I want to have derivatives only with respect to xi and eta. Okay, these are not having any problem because these are from transformation. Okay, these are also called as metrics. Okay, so these are just numerical values. And so derivatives of this only you have to see operators. I should not have x derivatives or y derivatives there. Okay, how to eliminate them? So if I take dou square by dou xi dou x, I will write this as dou by dou x of dou by dou z. And this dou by dou x is, again I will write that xi x dou by dou z plus eta x dou by dou eta operating on dou by dou z, like this. So now if I do this, what happens? It will become xi x dou square by dou xi square plus eta x dou square by dou xi dou eta. Is it okay? Now I don't have x derivatives there. In the same way, dou square by dou eta dou x, if I take dou by dou x of dou by dou eta, it means again this xi x dou by dou xi plus eta x dou by dou eta operating on dou by dou eta, it will become xi x dou square by dou xi dou eta plus eta x dou square by dou eta square. Like this it will become. And so these two are to be substituted in this equation. So that I will get dou square by dou x square is equal to xi xx dou by dou z. This is over. And this I will write eta xx dou by dou eta plus, and this term is there, right? Here I substitute this xi x into this. So I will get xi x whole square dou square by dou xi square plus xi x eta x dou square by dou xi dou eta plus, now this term is there. Okay, eta x into this. So xi x eta x dou square by dou xi dou eta plus eta x whole square into dou square by dou eta square. Okay, this is the way I will get dou square by dou x square, dou x square. Okay, so actually this is same term is there, this and this. So I will write 2 times this. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if I have this, dou square by dou y square also I can write in the same way. So it is easy. Only replace x's by y's. Dou square by dou y square, if I write here, xi y dou by dou xi, eta y dou by dou eta, xi y whole square into dou square by dou xi square, 2 xi y eta y into dou square by dou xi dou eta, and eta y whole square into dou square by dou eta square. Just replace x by y. You are going to get dou square by dou y square. Now I can get Laplace system, dou square by dou x square plus dou square by dou y square. So this term plus that term, I will show you that in the slide. So once you understand that this is dou square by dou x square, I have written that, and this dou square by dou x dou xi, it is obtained here, and dou square by dou x dou eta, this is obtained here. These two are substituted in this equation, so that I will get dou square by dou x square. This I have written now. And dou square by dou y square, replace all x square by x's by y's, and I'm going to get this. Okay, so now dou square phi by dou x square plus dou square phi by dou y square y equal to 0. This Laplace equation, if I want, this is to be operated on phi, and this is to be operated on phi, and I'm going to get this equation. You can see this is the Laplace equation. Is it clear, this particular equation?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is the instead of solving this equation in the physical domain, I have to solve this whole big equation in the computational domain. And as I told, this dou xi by dou x whole square, dou xi dou x, dou eta by dou x, these are all constants only. Once I have the transformation, right, I can find out those values. And the derivatives are only these things. Dou square phi by dou xi square, dou square phi by dou xi eta, like that. These are the terms. Okay, this is the way I get the equation. So any order equation I can transform. Usually in the flow equations, governing equations like Navier-Stokes equations, I have only second order derivatives, not more than that. Okay, so this is sufficient. If I can find out what is dou square by dou x square and dou square by dou y square, that is sufficient. If I have conservative form of equations, where I have like dou u by dou t plus dou e by dou x plus dou f by dou y plus dou z by dou z is equal to z, something like that. If I have only first order derivatives here. But within E, again you have like okay, some rho u and rho u square plus t minus tau xx and rho ue minus tau xy, like this I have, and tau xx will have again first order derivatives. So here also I have first order derivative, here also I have, that is applying first order derivative 2 times will be there if I have conservative form of equations. Otherwise, if I have nu del square u like that, so then I will have second order derivatives are to be applied here. Like that. So that is the way we have to transform the equations. Okay. So examine all the equations given the boxes above. Okay, that is, these are the second order derivatives and these are the first order derivatives. And they represent all that is necessary to transform governing flow equations with x, y, t as the independent variables to xi, eta, and tau as the new independent variables. Clearly, when this transformation is made, the governing equations in terms of xi, eta becomes rather lengthy. Okay, so this is the Laplace equation. Okay, the same thing, whatever I have explained. If I have conservative form, f, g, h, they are first order derivatives. again there will be another first order derivatives within that. So if I use directly Laplace, it's like this. So we use the second order derivatives. Okay.
Sir, how tau xx is the first order derivative?
Yeah, tau xx is our 2 mu dou u by dou x, right? Tau xx is
Yes,
what
sir.
is
Yes,
tau
sir.
x? So the dou u by dou x is first order derivative. If it is tau xy, mu into dou v by dou x plus dou u by dou y. Like that, they are first order derivatives. Okay. And we'll talk about what is called as matrix and Jacobian. And here one important point, I use Jacobian in different ways. Okay. So Jacobian, which we have come across till now. So there we are writing J, which is the derivative of a matrix with another matrix, right? Some dou E by or dou Q by dou E, like that. Okay. So these are derivative of solution vector with the flux vector that I have talked about Jacobian. But here in coordinate transformation, Jacobian is different. Okay, so you should not get confused from there to here. Here also we call Jacobian, there also we call Jacobian, but that Jacobian is different to this Jacobian. Okay, so that I wanted to make it clear. Okay. So we have what is called as transformation and inverse transformation. Okay, so transformation is xi is equal to xi of xy, eta equal to eta of xy. This is transformation. Inverse transformation is x is equal to x of xi eta, y is equal to y of xi eta. This is inverse transformation. So here the derivatives that we get are xi x, eta x, xi y, eta y. Okay, these are called as matrix. This is called as transformation. This is called as inverse transformation. And here xi, yj, x eta, y eta. These are called as inverse matrix. And I want to relate this matrix to inverse matrix. Okay, so how we do that? Okay, these are matrix and these are inverse matrix. So here you can write like this. Okay, use I. So dou u by dou xi if I want. Okay. So dou u by dou xi is dou u by dou x into dou x by dou xi, means xi, dou u by dou xi, dou u by dou x into dou x by dou xi, and dou u by dou y into dou y by dou z. Similarly, u eta is equal to x eta ux plus y eta uy, like that. So here, using the Cramer's rule, if I want we can write like this. Okay. So here, this ux and uy, if you take, these are the unknowns because xi, xyz, x eta, y eta are matrix. Okay. So I can write what is dou u by dou x using Cramer's rule. The coefficient matrix is xj, yj, x eta, y eta, and the numerator will be the right side. These things will come uj, u eta into the first column, and this yj, y eta in the second column, like this. You remember,
Sir,
right?
please repeat, sir.
Okay, I will write like this. Okay, now ux if I want, this is ratio of two matrices, determinants. Okay, what is the denominator? Coefficient determinant, right? So xj yj, x eta, y eta. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And in the numerator, what happens? This will come to the first column, uzi, u eta, and the second column will be as it is, yzi, y eta. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that is the way Cramer's rule will come. And this determinant is what is called as Jacobian. The matrix of the inverse matrix. This is called Jacobian. So Jacobian is xj y eta minus yj x eta. X eta. This is called as the Jacobian. Okay. Like this. Determinant of this denominator, right? That is fine. And okay, here we relate, right? Inverse matrix and this matrix. So xi and eta, and xi is d xi is dou xi by dou x dx, dou xi by dou y dy, and d eta is dou eta by dou x dx, and dou eta by dou y dy. And this can be written as d xi d eta is equal to xi x, xi y, eta x, eta y into dx dy. Is this clear, this particular one?
Yes, sir.
Right? So in the same way, I can write the other way. I take xy is equal to x xi eta, y equal to y xi eta. So dx is dou x by dou xi dz, dou x by dou eta d eta, and dx is dou y by dou, like this, I'll write. And again, this is written in this form. Okay, so here what I do is dz by dz d eta is, if I take that is if I multiply with inverse of this. Okay, so I will write it. Xi x, xi y, eta x, eta. This I will get. So the other one is dx dy is equal to dz d eta here, and I am going to get xj, x eta, yj, y eta, like this. Okay, so here these so dz d eta is equal to, if I take this to this side, inverse of this, xj, x eta, yj, y eta, inverse into dx dy. Is it clear? So here dz by dz d eta is this, and here dz d eta is this. So this is equal to inverse of this. Okay, so xi x, xi y, eta x, eta y is equal to xj, x eta, yj, y eta inverse. Is this relation clear? Is this relation clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so here, what is the inverse of this? How to find out the inverse of 2 by 2 matrix? What is the inverse of this?
Alternating the elements and
Yeah,
changing.
first I have to divide by determinant, right? Determinant of the matrix, which is Jacobian, into, now these two gets interchanged, and the other diagonal sign change will be there. That is, here it is y eta, xj. These two gets interchanged. And the other two, they will be at the same place, but with the minus sign. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So here I can get the relations between matrix and inverse matrix. So xi x is equal to 1 by j y eta, xi y is equal to 1 by j minus x eta, and eta x is equal to 1 by j minus yj, and eta y is equal to 1 by j xj. Okay. So these are the conversion from matrix to inverse matrix or inverse matrix to matrix. Is this okay?
Repeat once, sir.
Which one?
From first.
From first. Okay. This you understood or not? This particular relation.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this also in the same way, right? Now I am converting dx dy into dz eta. So instead of xi x xi y eta x eta y, I will get xj x eta yj y eta. Okay. So this is I will show you here. This is the way. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
So if it is okay, then dz by dz d eta is equal to, if I take this side, inverse of this, it will come. So this is also dz d eta is equal to, and this is also dz d eta equal to. So this this matrix is equal to inverse of this matrix.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So that's what we have writing here. So inverse is nothing but exchange of these two and negative of these two. So now I can get these equations. Okay. So these are the conversion from one system to another system. And here one proof I want to make. Okay. If I have conservation form of equations, the governing equations in the physical domain, and if I am transforming to computational domain, I am going to get big equation, right? So will the conservation form will be preserved, or we lose the conservation form? Okay, that's what. Actually here, if you see, dou square Laplace system equation is there, right? So we have seen that. This is Laplace's equation. This is a linear equation, right? This is a linear equation, linear second order differential equation. And this I am transforming here. So here what I am getting, you can see that dou square phi by dou z dou eta I am getting. Right? This is non-linear. This is non-linear. Am I right or not? Okay, there's some other things I want to see. Okay, these are constants only. Okay, we get the complex equations like this. The cross derivatives, mixed derivatives you will get. Okay, the main thing, because you get such a complex equation, whether if I take a conservation form of equation, whether it preserves in the computational domain or not. Okay, so this is this way. If I have dou u by dou t plus dou f by dou x plus dou g by dou y equal to 0. This is a conservation form of equation. If I transform it, I am going to get dou by dou z, dou by dou eta like that. So what I wanted to show is, if I have ex plus fy equal to 0, I am going to get something in terms of z, whether if I can get like this. If I can get like this, then it is conservation form. But if I have coefficients for this here, then I will not be having conservation form. Am I clear? Because I don't have coefficients here. In the same way, the z derivative should not have any coefficients. The eta derivative should not have any coefficient. Then only I say the conservation form is preserved. Okay, that's what I wanted to prove here. Okay, so dou u by dou t plus this I will write it as dou f by dou xi dou z by dou x. This dou f by dou eta and dou eta by dou x. This is for this. And dou g by dou y, I will write it as dou g by dou xi into dou xi by dou y plus dou g by dou eta and dou eta by dou y. And this equation I multiply by j. Okay, so I multiply by j. I am going to get this equation. Okay, so here, okay, some things I am taking dou by dou xi of j f dou xi by dou x. Okay, this I am taking. So if I take this, dou by dou xi of two multiplying things are there, right? F and dou xi by dou x. J is constant. Okay, remember J is constant. All xi x, xi y, eta x, eta y metrics and inverse metrics, they are constants. Okay, so here j I am taking out, and f and dou xi by dou x I am finding the derivative with respect to xi. Okay, so what will I get? First you take dou xi by dou x constant, so dou f by dou xi I will get. And then f is constant, so dou by dou xi of j dou xi by dou x I will have. Okay, is this clear? Just you tell me whether this is clear or not. Okay, forget about all this above one. I am writing this particular equation, and j into f dou xi by dou x. F has one function and j dou xi by dou x has one function I am taking. Okay, say j dou xi by dou x I am keeping constant, and dou f by dou xi I am writing, and f I am taking as constant, and dou by dou xi of j dou xi by dou x I am writing. Is this okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so j dou f by dou xi by dou x, this is equal to this minus this. Okay, this I am getting. Why I am writing all this is, here I have j dou f by dou xi by dou x. This I want to replace by these two terms. Is it okay? Similarly, all these terms also can be written this way. So I am going to get, so I have sum of these four terms, right? Which can be written as sum of all these right hand side terms. Okay, so if I write that way, so what happens is this jf dou xi by dou x by dou xi and jf dou eta by dou x by dou eta, and these four terms I will get, and these other four terms I will get. And here if you see j dou eta by dou x, j dou z by dou eta, and here I have related, right? This one. These I have to substitute there. Okay, here. So if I substitute, I'm going to get all these terms cancelled, and I will be left with this one, this one, this one, this one. Okay, so there are two dou by dou xi terms and two dou by dou eta terms. Okay, so these two, if I combine, I will get the equation this way. So I'm going to
Sir,
get,
how it will cancel, sir?
yeah, you can see that how it is cancelled. Okay, so here I have j dou xi by dou x, f dou by dou xi of j dou xi by dou x, right? So what is j dou xi by dou x here? J dou xi by dou x is dou y by dou eta, right? J dou xi by dou x is dou y by dou eta. I substitute here. This will become f dou square by dou xi dou eta. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
And similarly, if I take another one, f dou by dou eta of this one, j dou xi by dou eta by dou x. If I take this, what is j dou eta by dou x here? J dou eta by dou x is minus dou y by dou z, right? Minus dou y by dou z. Previously, did I write right? J dou z by dou x is dou y by dou eta. This is dou y by dou eta. I'm going to get f dou square by dou z dou eta. So here also, this will become j dou eta by dou x is minus dou y by dou z. So minus dou y by dou z. Okay. So this also will become f dou square by dou z dou eta. So this and this gets cancelled. So this term and this term will get cancelled, and this term and this term gets cancelled. I will be left with these four terms. And get these four terms, there are two xi derivatives and there are two eta derivatives. So I am going to get xi into eta is equal to 0. So if I take this as f1 xi plus g1 eta equal to 0 like this, where f1 and g1 are written like this: jf dou xi by dou x, jz dou xi by dou y. Is it clear? Jf dou xi by dou x, jz dou xi by dou y. Here jf dou xi by dou x and jz dou xi by dou y. These two are xi derivatives and these two are eta derivatives. Okay, if I sum them, we get like this. So what we are showing is this is going to become in this type of equation, which is still conservation form. Okay, that's what we want to show. Okay, so this is the way we have to, what we have done today is, I want to solve the equations with finite difference method having a complex geometry, which normally require finite volume and finite element methods. Because I am not familiar with that, and because I'm confident with the finite difference method, I want to transform the domain into a rectangular domain so that I can solve the equations in the computational domain. So I should have a transformation from physical domain to computational domain. So I have a transformation. So I know how to find out the derivatives, matrix, and Jacobian. I can get that. So now I have to transform the equations from the physical domain to computational domain. We have seen how to convert dou by dou x, dou by dou y into dou square by dou x square, dou by dou z and dou by dou eta. And second order derivatives also how to convert. So we have seen how to convert the governing equation from xy coordinate system to xi eta coordinate system. So that's what we have seen for a Laplace's equation, how to do it, right? And once I do that, then we have got the relations between matrix and the inverse matrix. And then we have seen how to prove that a conservation form of equation will preserve its conservation form even after transformation from the physical domain to computational domain. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So, and this particular topic is again taken from the Anderson, right? Yeah. This is fifth chapter, grids with appropriate transformations, right? So this is from fifth chapter of Anderson. Okay, next class we will discuss about grid generation. Okay, this is transformation of equations only, but how to generate the grid in the way I want. Okay, so The practical grids are non-uniform grids and curvilinear grids and all. And the computational grid is a uniform grid with a rectangular domain. So how to do that geometrical transformation? This is only transformation of equations that we will do in the next class.
Sir,
any
can you
doubts?
please
Yes.
can you please share Anderson book again, sir? Sir, actually, I have deleted.
Okay, sure. I will send it. You can ask other classmates, right? But anyhow, I will send it. Don't worry. Okay, any other questions? So if you don't have, we will go for the story. So this is
Sir,
yes.
sir, can you send the previous lectures?
Which previous lecture you want?
Yesterday's lectures.
Who is
Only
that?
notes and PPTs. Sir, Krishnendu.
Krishnendra, right?
Krishnendu. Yes, sir. Yes.
You don't know any other your scholars, co-scholars? And which lectures
Yes,
you
yes.
which lectures you don't have?
Yesterday's lectures.
So
Yesterday.
yesterday only
Only-
PPT is shared, I think.
But I
PPT
didn't
and
do
notes
any
are-
notes. Any notes I didn't write. I think in the last. That's why I kept quiet. Okay, I will see if I didn't send it, I will send it. Okay. If I have something and if I didn't send, I will send it.
Sir, yesterday's recording video.
Recording video not sent, huh?
Yes, yes.
Not shared.
I think not.
What, Bharat?
No, sir. Only PPT
Oh.
lessons.
Okay. Then I will share it. Maybe I forgot about it. Okay, I will share it. Okay, today we will go for another story from the nature. Okay, it is about rebirth of the eagle story. The eagle has the longest lifespan among birds. Eagles typically live between 30 to 40 years in the wild. As apex predators, they are relatively long-lived compared to many other birds. The oldest wild eagle on record is about 32 years of age. But it can live up to 70 years. But to reach this age, the eagle must make a hard decision. In its 30s, its long and flexible talons, nails, can no longer grab prey which serves as food. Talons are hard, sharp, and curved throughout the eagle's life. Talons and beak are made out of keratin, the same material as our fingernails. Think about how long it takes for your nails to grow. Its long and sharp beaks become bent. An eagle's beak is hooked to rip and tear its food. It has this distinctive hooked beak throughout its life, like all birds of prey. And beak and talons are critical to eagle's ability to catch and consume food. No eagle can survive without a beak or talons for any amount of time. Its old-aged and heavy wings, due to their thick feathers, become stuck to its chest and make it difficult to fly. And feathers are replaced throughout an eagle's life. The process is called molting. An eagle does not lose all of its feathers at one time. It is a gradual process, continually renewing the feathers. Then the eagle is left with only two options: die or go through a painful process of change which lasts 150 days. The process requires that the eagle fly to a mountain top and sit on its nest. An eagle's nest is used only for the rearing of the young, and the eagles do not use their nest except for the few months of the year when they are actively raising the young. There are eagle knocks its beak against a rock until it plucks it out. Actually, the eagle knocks its beak against a rock until it plucks it out. And beak and talons are critical to eagle's ability to catch and consume food. So no eagle can survive without beak and talons. When its new talons grow back, the eagle starts plucking its old age feathers. Because they become old, they pluck it. An eagle cannot survive without food for anything close to 150 days. A few days without food might be possible, but no longer. And after 5 months, the eagle takes its famous flight of rebirth and lives for 30 more years. So after losing its old beak, feathers, and talons, it grows new one, but that is a painful process. So reading this story definitely makes you feel good, but remember it is biologically impossible for this story to be true. Our story that we are watching on this webcam is true, and we are all learning a lot by watching it. So it's you can always renew your thing by losing the old things and getting the new things. So naturally they grow for the eagle like that. Okay, this it's an interesting story I wanted to share with you. Okay, see you then. See you in the next class, and we will have grid generation in the next class. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.